Hi, my name is Nikhil Taneja. I'm the co-founder and CEO of a socially conscious youth media research and community engagement company called Yuva. Before this, I was the head of content and development at Y Films, the youth wing of Yash Raj Films, where my claim to fame was producing 4 of the first 10 web series ever made in India, including Bang Baja Barat. Before that, I was a producer at MTV India, where my claim to fame was not producing roadies. Before that, I started my career as a reporter at Hindustan Times, where my claim to fame was surviving 2.5 years in Bombay, earning less than 15,000 rupees per month. And before that, I was an engineer. Yes, I'm a cliche, just like most other men my age. I studied computer engineering at NIT Kurukshetra, and I do have a claim to fame. Well, I consider myself a very successful engineer because, according to me, a successful engineer is one who finishes engineering and then leaves it. There is a before that as well. Before engineering, I was in school, yes. But during my school years in a country that I grew up in called Bahrain, I was also a teenage journalist. I started writing at the age of 14 and had a weekly column at a for over 5 years at a youth magazine called Young Times, which is a part of the Khaleej Times group. I used to interview celebrities who'd come to Bahrain, and I've interviewed everyone from the rock band Junoon to Michael Schumacher to Shah Rukh Khan, all before I turned 20. And yet, I did engineering and almost did an MBA and ended up being diagnosed with clinical anxiety because I was trying to live up to my mission statement of being a man. It took me 30 years and a lot of therapy to realize this. And at first, I thought it was just me. Then, with my company, Yuva, I traveled to over 100 colleges in India and met over 10,000 young people in person as part of the Yuva Roadshow of Kindness. And after creating safe spaces to listen to students, I found out that this was true for almost every young middle class Indian person, irrespective of gender. And it was worse for those who weren't heterosexual or of a binary gender or belong to the so called lower classes. You see, every child in our country, in India, is given a mission statement, even before they are born. It's a mission statement they have to achieve in their lives when they grow up, and they have to live their entire lives trying to fulfill it. In India, when a child is born in a female body, she's given the identity or a label of being a girl. With that label comes the mission statement given by society and parents for most girls that she will someday grow up to marry an acha ladka or a good boy. And to eventually marry an acha ladka, she has to live life according to a certain set of rules that will make it possible for her to find one. She has to learn to cook, otherwise she can't find an acha ladka. She can't go out late at night, otherwise she won't get an acha ladka. She can't go out in the afternoon because she'd get dark and she wouldn't get an acha ladka. She can't laugh too loudly. She can't speak too softly. She has to wear decent clothes. She can't be too healthy or too skinny. And she can't make too many male friends because else she wouldn't get an acha ladka. And for some strange reason, an acha ladka can never come from among the male friends that the girl already has. It definitely has to be someone outside of that. Some girls are told that, okay, you can study and you can do the jobs for now if you want. But ultimately, it doesn't matter because you have to find an acha ladka. Some girls, unfortunately, are told, what is the point of studying or doing jobs? You have to ultimately marry an acha ladka who will earn enough for the both of you and will come from a suitable upper caste. The tragedy is that most girls buy into this story and spend their entire childhoods getting ready to fulfill their mission statements and be married off to an acha ladka at a suitable age and after acquiring the suitable skill sets and then be given away by one man, her father, to another man, her husband, through a kanyadan or its equivalent in different religions. Because the girl has always been seen as the belonging and burden of a man in a patriarchal society. Thankfully, at least for a subsection of the society, feminism has helped people understand that girls are not born to be given away or to belong to a man. And patriarchy is a social evil that needs to be defeated or smashed. And every girl and every woman has the right to a life of their own at their own terms with their own rules. It's a long fight, but it has begun. As a man who is privileged enough to understand the evils of patriarchy, I have always been hyper aware of how it benefits men. But after meeting young boys and young men across the country, I realized how patriarchy also affects the boys who are trying to be these men. Because in India, when a child is born in a male body, he's also given an identity or a label of being a boy. With that label comes the mission statement given by society and parents for most boys, that he will go on to earn a lot of money so that he can be the acha ladka that the girl needs. And to eventually be an acha ladka, he also has to live life according to a certain set of rules. An acha ladka cannot have a hobby until the hobby gets some certificates or trophies in school competitions, because otherwise it's a waste of time. An acha ladka has to either top his exams or at least have the potential of doing so, because good boys always get good results and there's no such thing as an average boy. An acha ladka has to take up manly activities like playing sports or being obsessed with GI Joes and superheroes. And an acha ladka can never wear pink or feel or cry or express himself, because good boys have to grow up to be strong men and feelings are obviously a weakness. An acha ladka has to ideally take up science in plus two, then take up engineering, then do an MBA, then earn a lot of money so that he can be worthy of then being called an acha ladka, who can then get a fair, pretty, thin girl who doesn't laugh too loudly or speaks too softly and is ideally a virgin. The tragedy is that most boys buy into this story too, and they spend their entire lives getting ready to fulfill this mission statement and get married to a woman and then provide for her, because that's what men do. They are the providers and women are the homemakers. They have to earn for their children and the women have to raise their children. They are the hunters, the women are the gatherers. Even if in trying to even if in trying to earn this money, men don't ever get time to spend with their children or even get to know them. For a long time, I kind of bought into this story as well. Remember when I said that I was a teenage journalist? I still went to an engineering college and not an arts college, because according to my parents, if you're an intelligent boy, you have to take up science and engineering. If you're an average boy, you can only take up commerce and BA. And only if you're nalaik or worthless, then you take up arts and humanities. I was obviously an intelligent boy, so I took up engineering. And as an intelligent boy, I realized that within 6 months of engineering, that I obviously cannot do this. Then I had 3.5 years to figure what I wanted to do. So I did finish engineering, eventually got into HT, eventually got into MTV. At MTV, I ended up being one of the youngest producers and created my own fiction TV show when I was 25. I remember calling my parents that day and telling them very excitedly on the day it was announced. I was like, this is insane. I'm creating and producing a TV series I wrote. And my parents said, that's awesome. But does this mean you won't do an MBA? And I was like, what? Did you tell me BA is for average students? And they were like, no, no, no. MBA is for smart students. So this time I followed up. I said, okay, assuming I will do an MBA, then what happens? Then you get a lot of money. Then what happens? Then you buy a house. Then what happens? Then you buy a car. Then what happens? Then you get married. Then what happens? Then you have kids. Then what happens? Then you raise kids. Then what happens? Then you send them off to college. Then what happens? Then what happens? Then you retire. Then what happens? Then what has to happen? You're happy. What else? And I'm like, to be happy, I have to retire. And they were like, yeah. And what if I want to be happy right now? And they were like, nope, that's not how it works. I was like, why not? Because apparently, first you have to settle down and do your duties. Once you are done with these duties, then you can be happy. And that's when it struck me, this idea of settle. Do you realize that the word settle, according to society, means to be stable? And it is what happens when a boy and a girl fulfill their mission statements and get married, like the good heterosexual children that they are. And then they settle. But I realized that the word settle has another meaning. And that meaning is to compromise, to give up. And it is what happens when a young person of any gender struggles and fights to be able to do what they want to do. And then one day, after getting tired and exhausted of fighting so much, realize that if they just give in, if they just and stick to and follow the mission statements given to them, things would just be so much easier. And so they settle. And that's what our parents did too. They were given duties as part of their mission statement. And so were their parents before them and their parents before them. And every one of them tried fulfilling it the best they can, settling for whatever story was written to them by society. Some would then end up with depression, some with anxiety, but most of them just empty from inside, not realizing that happiness isn't a trophy you get at the end of life, fulfilling your duties, but happiness is about having meaning and joy in doing the things you want to do during your life. Because when you live life according to a mission statement, you do have a life, but you're not really living it at all. It took me many years to realize that I don't want to settle, that I wanted to be free of my mission statement, that I wanted to write my own story. You don't have to wait that long. You shouldn't have to wait that long. These gender norms and rules and regulations were kept in place to reinforce a patriarchal notion of society that benefited only heterosexual upper caste men in power, but affected everyone else, including the boys they once were. And the reason no one speaks about this is also because we are conditioned as young people. Boys are told never to express because that would make them weak. Girls are told never to express because their opinions aren't important enough. And any young person of any other gender is told to never express because the world won't accept their truths. Reject these rules and regulations and mission statements given to you. Take time to introspect. Find your truth. Ask yourself who you are beyond what society has told you to be. What is your story beyond the story given to you by your gender, or for that matter, by your class, caste, community, creed, religion? Or choose a story that adopts them. It's your choice. Find your story and write it for yourself. In a world where everyone is asked to fit in, the most courageous thing you can do is to stand out, even if that means choosing to stand alone for some time. It will not be easy, but it will be worth it. I promise you. Or else you just have to take a lot of therapy. Thank you for making me part of your story today, as you have become a part of mine, even if it was for a few minutes. Cheers.